Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order. General Operations, April 1st, 2024, and the mayor is going to give the invocation.
All right, if you'll bow with me. Heavenly Father, we just thank you, Lord, for this opportunity to come together. Lord, do the business of the county. Lord, may everything that we do and say. And Father, as we go through this Easter season, Lord, we just give you thanks for your Son, for the sacrifice that he made for each one of us, Lord, for our sins, and they are washed clean because of him. So we pray for this meeting, that we go through these items expeditiously, Lord, and that we do everything that glorifies you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda if there are no changes. Second. Okay, so we have Commissioner Miller, Commissioner Jones. Approval of the minutes from March 4th. Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. Approval of the minutes from March 4th. Commissioner Miller. Second from Commissioner Jones. Sure. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Mr. Chairman, I abstain since I wasn't here. Okay, thank you. Report of the chairman, I have none. Report of the county mayor.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. I'll bring you up to date on some of the projects. I handed out a sheet that will give you the update. And I just go through a few highlights. I don't think it's necessary that I read everything here, but want to let you know on the courthouse parking garage, we've got the 5th floor shell out. We're going to move. We ask that you move for that to be approved to move it to budget so we can talk about the cost involved in that. We've got estimates from Turner. There are some discussions with our current finance director on the scope of that, if we have to bid it out or if we can do it under the umbrella of Turner. And we're working on that right now, but in an effort to keep this moving along, I ask that y'all pass this through this committee onto the budget committee. It gives us that week, and we'll address it in budget and address those concerns. Let's see. So, of course, we're parking garage. Completion date in June is in question due to our ongoing discussions with Gallatin Department of Electricity. We're still waiting on confirmation for a date. We threw one out there, but it has not been confirmed by everybody, so we don't know. Let's see, stormwater, still working on Franklin stormwater. We are at a critical point on this one, being able to get it in line with the city of Gallatin. We ask that you pass this on to budget and let us flesh out any of the cost issues that we have with the budget committee. And we've got those estimates right now from Turner, and I think our finance director agrees with this position to go with this company and try to get this going as quickly as possible. Right now, it's if we don't go with Turner, who is our current construction manager of risk, then we basically not really start over, but we will have to start with having to have Kimberly Horn. They will have to draw up bid specs, and then we have to go through the bid process, and we're looking at 2 to 3 months for that. That will put us beyond the scope of trying to get this opened up on time. So moving on down, you know, we're still working on Gallatin Department of Electricity. We're still working with them on a date. Don't know how effective that's going to be, but we'll see. So certainly keep you posted on that once we get more information. Health Department. The Health Department, the survey reports were completed in March. The contract language was approved by legal after some revisions. We're getting some final figures for a PO on the reimbursable fees. At that point, we will proceed with the purchase order and for an architectural design for the demolition demolition and new build at the existing location. We have vetted this through the school system. They're in agreement that we need to do this, or in agreement that we can do it where it is. They really don't have a voice in whether we need to do it or not. They're just okay with us building the new structure there. Let's see. That's about it on that one. The Hollows is still moving along. Not a whole lot there. Oak Grove, we should be getting the survey documentation soon from Richard Graves Surveying. I think they're finishing that up. At that point, we will work with the legal department on drafting the legal description and quitclaim deed. And at that point, we'll have the resource authority quitclaim that over to us. And once we get that information, we will release a request for qualifications for an architect to work on the building. And we will report back as that goes along. EMS buildings, the Westmoreland building, we are meeting tomorrow with the owner of the land, and he has offered to sell it to us at $65,000 an acre for $211,900, which is significantly below its appraised value. So we're going to talk to him and make sure he understands the appraised value, and if we can write him a letter of fair market value as a donation. Hopefully he's going to stick with the $65,000, and then we'll get the contract.
Is there an address for that, Mr. Mayor?
I do not have it with me. I can get it for you.
And it's $65,000 an acre.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
How many acres?
Like 3.5 acres?
Yeah, a little over 3.5.
So Westmoreland.
Facility?
Or the new EMS building.
Yeah, it's right behind the, is that the NCT shelter? It's that land, it sets up just a little bit. It's a prime location.
Yes, it is.
Prime location to be able to get 52 and 31. So it's going to be an excellent location.
There was a little house here.
No,
You talking about the old mayor's lot?
no, it's not the mayor's lot. No, it's owned by a private individual. Yeah. So we're working on that right now. The White House one, that one's on hold, so I don't have any reports. Let's see. The William and Martha Brown Memorial Park, we have got most of the design completed. The administrative staff review and TDEC review should have that done in April of 2024. And then at that point, all of the permitting process will begin. We've already submitted for the ARAP permit application with TDEC, so we're working on that right now.
When is the budget coming for that?
Pardon me?
The budget?
That will come with all of the final product of the architect and the engineers, yeah.
Okay.
So we're working on that. Let's see, broadband's okay. Chiller, thank you. The chiller is installed. It is up and running. Project is complete. So nothing else to do with that. Thank goodness. Jail roof improvements. We have got the bids back, and tomorrow the engineer will be sending out a letter, or to go out tomorrow. They drafted it today. Escola was the winning bid. They met all the contract requirements, and once they get that letter, then we'll do a pre-construction meeting and get everything else in order on that project. So that one's moving along. Hopefully we will get to work very soon on the jail roof. We've got some significant weather coming in tomorrow, and
Mr. Mayor, that was significantly lower than the budgeted amount, wasn't it?
it came in 1.2, and we've got 1.7 million allocated for it. So that will be 500,000 going back into the ARPA, the revenue replacement.
And we are going to be able to pay for it with ARPA money.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep. Yeah, we have ARPA money allocated, and so 500,000 we'll be able to use for other projects, or if we have any overages on current projects. Let's see. Archive roof, let's see, the contract with the architect is still under legal review. Working to finalize that. As soon as we get that back from legal, we'll proceed with the purchase order to get the design going and get everything going on that project. No changes on the library flooring, and still the other projects, parking lot program, HVAC, ADA, still moving along. Nothing to report on those projects, and kitchen equipment. The jail bought a few items through their budget on kitchen equipment. So anything else I'd like to reserve for when that item comes up, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman. That ends my report.
This is great, Mr. Mayor. In the future, if you can get it in with the packet, that would be great.
Yeah.
That way we were a little more time to look at it.
Absolutely. That is my intention. Unfortunately, today we were scrambling, adding items to it, trying to get the latest and greatest information to you.
Does anybody have any questions? For the mayor to discuss anything? I got one. Could you make a motion to discuss? Yeah, motion to discuss.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Just one right off the library flooring, it says based on Joey's flooring availability. Has he scheduled it out yet, or is he not going to schedule it until, like, we're not gonna know when it's scheduled?
Yeah, it's scheduled. They're working on it.
So sometime the next month we'll hear some progress.
Yeah, you should have project completion.
I know that people in Gallatin would be eager to hear that, so I wanted at least to ask that question. And then the other question I have is, if we could go back to the Westmoreland thing, that really perked up my ears with the, cost of the per acre for the Westmoreland, station build. I didn't know there was any property in the county that was worth that kind of money. Who surveyed?
Cheap, Mr. Commissioner Jones.
65,000?
Absolutely.
It's cheap.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very inexpensive. We got an appraisal on it, I think was $352 for that acre. Yeah. You'll be lucky to find anything under $100,000 an acre.
100,000 an acre.
Yes, sir.
And anywhere in Sumner County.
Yes, sir.
That blows my mind. All right, that's all I got.
Anything else? Okay. We'll move on then to, we have a demonstration. Oh, I'm sorry, recognition of public. My mistake. Laura Becky.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to speak on the last item on the agenda, but Laura Baker, Court Reporter. I have a section of a report that was issued in February 2024 from the Office of the Comptroller. It's a study of caseloads and case filings of both criminal and civil cases in all 95 counties. What they did is it doesn't show specific numbers, but it shows percent changes in criminal civil case filings, and it showed over two different time periods, from 2019 to 2020, and then again from 2020 to 2022, to show whether there was a general increase or decrease in the number of cases filed in each of the counties. What the report showed in Sumner County, for criminal filings in the period 2019 to 2020, that filings were down somewhere between 11% and 30%. They color-coded, and I have two handouts I can so they did it in categories, so you can't really see the whole number, but the fact is that criminal filings were down somewhere between 10 and 20%. Civil filings were, in 2019 to 2020, were down 0 to 5%, and down again in 20 to 2022 by another 0 to 10%. So somewhere it's between 0 and 15%. So while the governor may have approved this court, I think what we need to do is dig into this a little bit more, because we're going to be putting the bill for this, and the comptroller's office has clearly shown that it doesn't seem to be justified. So I know that there are reports available that show actually by district how many cases are being handled per judge, and I know that that's available. I was not able to access it, but I think that there is ways to get at it, and I will try to dig into that further, but I suggest that maybe people on the committee. Also, I think that the comptroller's office, obviously they have real numbers here in order to calculate percentages, but this is a published report. I'll be happy to send you the link, anybody who'd like it, so.
I would like it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, if there's nobody else wanting to speak, we'll move on to old business. We have Mr. Robert Tuttle here to give a demonstration of the Duke County Surplus Database. And before he starts, what we're looking for is any additional things that he or I or any of his team may have forgotten, or something that we believe might be helpful in the database and the different departments understanding what's available to be transferred from department to department. With that, you've got the floor, Robert.
Yes, sir. Came off, but does anyone use this TV without the remote? Does anybody know what that remote is? Somebody else can mouse it.
That's why I put it on the table or something.
I don't think that's what TV does. Here's the surplus days we've been working on.
you've already got everything loaded. We don't have pictures currently for makes and models of these. We're going forward, we will have that as an option for everyone to enter as they put their inventory in. Real simple though, any type of modifications need to be made, you just go to the item, click here. This is where you'll set the amount you've got. You can drop pictures there of the items, whether it's furniture, equipment, computer, so forth. You can give a brief description, how many you have, what conditions it's in, the manufacturer. We also offer the model and the serial number for people who might need that information, but that's if it would benefit them for their use. Anytime items are put in, whoever is over that department will be responsible for taking care of this page once we roll it out. We've got a status page here. If someone reaches out to that department and is interested in all three of what they have listed, they'll go down here, they'll simply move it to claim, and that's what I'll make a reflect on the website. And then after that movement, if the person shows up to get it, they will go to retrieve. It'll automatically be removed from the database and will be available for whoever is looking through the search list. If for some reason the items that the department has no one wants, we also gave it the option so we can keep a database of it for where it moves to go through that list for sale.
Is that gonna be an automatic feature after a certain amount of time?
We can set that, but that'd be up to you guys to decide how long you want to make this available, whether it be 2, 4 weeks or how.
We can make it automatic trigger those on the side.
Yeah, we'll also have it, I can't show you that tonight, but we've also built in a date range that's going to alert everybody how long it's going to be up there for them to retrieve this. So we can move that into it. Now, I showed you kind of what's already there, but I will walk you through the process of if you want to add something to this. In that department. So we'll go down here. Let's say we've got, I don't know, we've got 2 monitors. Quantity. We'll log this into the inventory.
So all the departments are uploaded and that just a drop down menu that clicks on that.
Yes, sir. And you can see here, this is what I just loaded up. So go through that, I can go through here. And this is where we can give the information that we were discussing earlier, what kind of description it is, to say, 24-inch monitors, condition, working, manufacturer, and of course you can enter the pay inflation for that as well. And here's what I can show you. Let me look up a picture real quick for you. See how that drop works. a search, and you want to search for something, I want to go make value monitors on there, and then make them search. Yes, sir. Let's bring it here. There we go. You go back. Where we started. To answer your question, Commissioner, here's when you search. I'll go straight to the top, so you want to search mine. That way down to the top. Well, you don't have to, I mean, sometimes that's gonna be a very long list, so we want to make sure you have the search ability for that.
By 32, sure.
Wow. Just have 32 monitors. I'm not sure the condition of those, we'll still have to talk to them about that. More than likely, those are probably busted up or don't work. Probably only good for parts. Would be my guess. And then if you go back into where we just created, you'll see how they update.
Is that, those items already uploaded by the departments, the ones that are on there right now?
We did it.
Y'all did
We
it?
did it from the list.
So can you look at the condition of the 32 for Sheriff's Department, like what it say?
No, sir. They didn't provide that information. The only thing we got is a piece of paper that told us what the equipment was.
Can you make it to where it requires that field? Because it's useless to have stuff on there that's gonna sit there if it's not good to anybody.
Right, well, and again, they didn't enter that information, we did. That was based off of something they submitted 3 months ago.
Right, right.
While we worked on it.
And so they just wanted to get it sold through gov deals, and we thought, well, this is, we had 2 departments, we had the health department and their generators and that stuff, and they had the sheriffs, and so we wanted to use that as an example. I mean, we could liquidate those right away, or we can, what we need to do is determine a time that we want to leave them. Now, we can leave that up to the department. We can specify it ourselves as the committee. I was thinking and talking with Robert that maybe as a starter, we kept them up there for 60 days because it's going to take people a while to remember that this is up there. And so if, depending on how things move, either way, we can change that date at some future time, but I was trying to think of a good starting point. But it's open to suggestion and any other things we might think would be helpful with the website to move on.
Well, that's good. My main thing was, I don't know if we want people putting things on that are broken or good for parts only or something like that.
Well, yeah, that's certainly a question to be discussed. You know, but a broken monitor is different than a broken chair or a broken compressor or a broken generator. Those things are much higher value, and if they're easily repaired, at least.
Most things like that aren't easily repaired.
Well,
Pretty good.
And I would agree with you, some things are and some aren't, so that's something we can discuss too. If, you know, if it's all just junk.
Yeah, I don't want it to be a dump site for things.
Well, what happens is we won't move them to a separate location. somebody said, you know, if Ken Widener said, I'd like to look at those 3 generators you got over there, he would go over and look at them. If somebody said, I'd like to look at those 32 monitors at the sheriff's, I don't know where they keep them, but you could go look at them, and maybe they're all the same, and you wanted to take 2 of them because one had a broken stand, you can transfer that stand onto the other one. It's, you know, I don't want to make too many decisions for the departments. On the other hand, we don't want to have a junkie. So I'm just opening this to the floor to talk about.
And every contact at each department also will receive an email anytime something is uploaded on their department, so that way it lets them go check out the email.
I have a couple of questions. The first one is, who will take care of purchases, the collection of money, distribution of the equipment?
That all will fall on each department. Now, when it comes to selling on gov deal, they're going to go through legal. If there's any money transfer.
So they would be responsible for coming and getting the piece of equipment and paying the sheriff's office.
Well, this won't be paying anyone.
It's free.
Interdepartmental, it's free, because whatever
I'm
department.
not talking about interdepartmental, I'm public.
If it goes on the gov deals, yes, sir. They'll be responsible for coming in and paying whichever
And
department.
then the second is just a statement, and I'm sitting here, and it was the first thing that hit me when I saw all of these monitors. This can be a double-edged sword for us, because there are going to be many, many people sitting out there in Sumner County and saying, well, did all of these monitors go bad at the same time? Or are we just Christmas shopping? I can see that it would be a double-edged sword unless we have good documentation on why we need it.
Are you referring to public?
Yes.
I think that's where he's missing, I think. This is not
Public,
just.
Yeah, this is not for the
We're not
public.
taking this public. The only
Well,
time public will see it is when it goes to gov deals.
Yeah. Even if the public doesn't see it, I'm not into hiding anything from the public, and they will eventually see it if it does go to a deal. But I just think we ought to be really careful about, and this is not you, and it doesn't have to, I think we ought to be careful about utilization of property until it is thoroughly not usable.
So, on that note,
Where do you go for that?
that's still okay.
Go ahead.
Motion to discuss.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You're accused.
So, thank you for that. We will still, the items will still come before us, correct, before they go here, right?
If we instruct it to be that way.
Well, I want to address this concern, because that brought up a concern for me too. We were always saying whether something, you know, should be obsoleted or not, and we caught a lot of, computer equipment, like our first month in here, that, the IT department said that they could still possibly use. It was only a few years old. It was like going there doing the whole upgrade, they were gonna trash everything, but there was a few things that weren't so old that could still be used. So I would like it still to come before us to keep what Mr. Hyde's saying from happening with just people dumping things on that site. Is that gonna be too cumbersome, or?
I don't think it's cumbersome, but, you know, keep in mind, when we get a list now, none of us go through the list and necessarily go analyze the equipment. I mean, I went to Hal Hendricks's to look at everything he had. He had some great stuff there.
But we did go through that list of computer items, back in 22, when they came across, and we deemed a few of the items to be still worth using, and we let a lot of it go to auction or to the trash, and there was a few items on it that we looked at. So rather than it pop up on there as 32 items, I would like to see that they are
Come here first.
that they indeed need to should be on there, and that, somebody didn't put one on that, just didn't like the style of it or something.
Okay.
I'm just trying to
No, that's a great comment.
think about his idea, but I don't want it to be too cumbersome, but it seems like we were already doing that before, when we got the lists of things that went.
Yeah, we can determine whether it goes, for instance, Toby's getting rid of, and we'll be talking about that tonight, he's got 3 used trucks that he wants to sell and buy a tractor, a used tractor with it. We don't have any other departments that can use those trucks that I know. So we would pass that on, for him to go ahead and sell. It's part of this committee's equipment, since we're responsible for all the real estate and property. So, but, if there's absolutely no other department that can use it, we can make that determination whether it goes straight to GovDeals or it goes to the surplus website. So I'm fine with that if that's what the body wants to do. And I think it's a good idea that it still goes through this committee. So,
You like that better?
I'm good with that. I remember, a number of years ago, it's been over 20 years, I went to a public sale, and I won't say what department it was, but I bought some really nice metal folding chairs that are just as good now as they were then that I'm still using, and a balance scale, and several items that are just as good this day as they were 20 years ago. It's just something we should think about, consider.
well, and I think I've told everybody, the reason I thought about this was because Josh Sutter had a bad 48-inch printer up in his office. Hal had gotten a new one bought for him by the state, and he had a perfectly good one that was sitting in his basement that he had to run once a month. And so I got those two together, and Josh just took that printer off his hands. And so I'm thinking this is a way to potentially save money between departments rather than the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing, and they just get rid of it. So if that was the concept there. So yes, if the body decides to still have everything go through the committee, I think that's fine. I think that's a good idea.
When do we make those decisions?
We can make.
When is this gonna get going?
Well, with what we,
Looks like
It's not posted, or it's not pushed out yet.
it's getting close.
yeah, it's real close, and that's what we wanted to do, is have it close so that we could drop the hammer on it. If we want to drop the hammer on it, we can tonight. We need to decide what we're gonna do about the time it spends on the website. We can make a decision on continuing to run it through the committee, and if there are any other suggestions.
I think we're dancing around just creating an SOP. I think that would be the best thing to do, is just a standard operating procedure. Instead of each meeting you come here and you piecemeal this thing together.
Okay.
I'm just suggesting that you all come to the table with some ideas to compile into one SOP and then move from there.
Okay. So then we should defer it for a month, come back, anybody on the committee who has a suggestion, present it to me, and I'll put it on a full list, and we can, which way we want to go. Okay. So, yes.
Well, how long did it take you to input those 8 pages of surplus for sheriff's department?
It wasn't very long. I think all in all, the health department and the sheriff's department was about an hour.
How much of this information can be migrated to GovDeals, or can it at all?
And we'll be able
If
to.
it be a complete new re-entry? Okay.
Yeah, because you have to enter that on their actual site to get to us. And we're gonna reach out to Hal and to Eric to find out the condition of the equipment we've got listed before we go further. So we may get available to the other departments.
Yeah.
That way everyone knows.
We didn't want to put the cart before the horse. If everybody thought this was a horrible idea, we would just stop it here rather than investing any more time. The truth is that his office had already been working on something like this before I ever approached him. So, anyway, if,
Is it proper to make a defer with a standard operating procedure to follow, and then we can vote to amend that or approve it tonight?
yes,
I'll make that.
okay, we've got a motion. Do we have a second? Second from Commissioner Moss. Any questions or discussion on the motion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Thank you, Robert.
So,
Appreciate it.
hey, just so you know, it's a work in progress, but it's an emergency alert. Just like what you want to do. The link you want to do, what you want to post. We're just gonna make it available to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay,
Will there be a presentation for this again next month, possibly?
what we'll do is we'll get together, when we get the SOP together, we'll decide on which way we want to go as a committee. I'll get that information to Robert, and then if the body would like another presentation, we can finish it. Or he can just send us the link and we can look at it on our own.
Just a suggestion, if it is, that is another presentation, if you can make the screen bigger, just, I don't know if it'll pick up on, if not, we can also possibly use for training for the departments and show them how it works, and familiarize themselves with it, or how do we plan on rolling that out for people?
It's pretty simple.
Self-explanatory.
He sent me the link and.
Okay.
Yeah, I've already written some instructions on it. I just need to
Okay.
get out my statement of words.
Okay, cool.
We know what we're gonna do, and then we'll handle training everyone in each
Oh,
department.
all right.
Because each department's already nominated who will be their contact, who will oversee that. So, yeah, we can do that. Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot, Robert.
You all right?
Okay, that takes care of 8A, 1, 2, and 3. 8B, progress on the roof parapets of archive building. This is old information on B. We do have, the specifications, as Mayor Isbell was saying, and, we're probably ready to put that out for bid, aren't we, Mayor?
No, we have to accept the contract with the architect.
Oh,
They have to.
That's right, that's.
So I'm waiting on legal to send that to me.
So there's no action to be taken there, that's just enough.
We'll give you a report on it next month.
Yeah. Update on new courthouse parking structure. Here again, this is old information, just be a reminder. Okay, the status of the storm drain. I have worked on this a little bit this month, and
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Before you move on, sorry. New courthouse parking structure. I don't know if this is appropriate time or not, but we have not come up with a solution for, the parking shortage. And I know the library is probably pretty nervous about that still. Will something need to be handled separately, a different discussion, or?
we probably ought to make that a new item for next month. We can discuss the shortage.
We need some possible solutions, and I don't know how to
You know, that's why we
make those out of thin air.
that's why we need to push it off for a month, because we've got to think of solutions, and I can get together with the mayor, or,
Okay.
we can discuss that, so.
I didn't know what that was about, but figured it's a good time to ask a question, so, yeah.
I'll get it on new items.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
I would entertain a motion to discuss on the storm drain.
Second.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so the storm drain, as you recall, the general contractor has given us a price for $399,000 for the storm drain itself, $100,000 in management fee, and $100,000 in contingencies, depending on what would be could possibly be hit the road. I have solicited 3 different storm drain contractors, and I have gotten prices back on all 3 of them. One is $128,000, one is $119,000, and one is $98,500, which is in pretty stark contrast to the definite $499,000, and with the possibility of a contingency of $100,000. So we have some, and I don't fully understand. I was going back and forth with our finance director, and I'm not totally understanding what has transpired, because this parking structure was initially in a different location, down kind of behind and off to the side of the courthouse. I don't know what happened with that property, why it ended up getting moved. Can you address that at all, ma'am? You can. So somewhere along the line, the parking structure got moved, and I believe there was a storm drain, but I have never seen those plans that had to run out from that parking structure. So because there was a storm drain in the parking structure there, it all got shifted, and I just don't understand what transpired to why we're locked into a price that we are without being able to negotiate out of it. And what I'm told is that if we went to the general contractor and asked them to abandon that part of the project, if they were willing to do that, then we could bid it ourselves and do the work and save 4 times the money. So that's the status as of tonight of the storm drain. And so I'm looking for either, and I've hit this with our law director as well, and I've discussed it with Tim Northleaf, and I'm just not sure what can be done or where we need to go with it. But I about the tax dollars of the county citizens, and so that's why I went through all this exercise. Commissioner Jones.
I appreciate you getting the cost estimates, but I understand what the mayor's saying about the timeline with having to put it out for public bids, not just the ones you shopped around, and it taking even longer. Where was county law director on about it?
Well, let me clarify a couple of things. The city has to put in a water line first.
Right.
That's not going to happen until May.
But are they needing that water line, or is it just a good time to do it because we're digging up the road anyway?
They have 2 water lines in that road right now. One is directly in the way of the storm drain.
Okay.
So
we're affecting them, so
the water line has to happen first. Okay. The plans have been submitted, plan checked, corrections, and maybe the corrections made, although I don't know that for sure. But the city of Gallatin has all but approved those plans. So I don't know what the specification package would have to happen besides the plans and specifications on the 5 pages of drawings. That's news to me. So I would think that we could put those plans out to bid and go ahead and take 2 weeks to do it or what have you. And then, get the project started as soon as the city of Gallatin is done with their water.
The bid was going to be, he said, 2 to 3 months for the process there to get it ready.
And that's what I'm saying. I know the plans are done. I know that there is time that has to happen with the water department. So, Mr. Mayor, can you enlighten us on why it would take 2 to 3 months to build this out?
Well, it could take that long for Kimberly Horn to write up the bid specs. Yeah, it won't take 2 or 3 months to do it, but the process, once you advertise, accept, and so forth. And then also you've got the lead time on getting materials. We're subject to those lead times on getting materials. And then you've got the builder, the construction manager risk. You know, that whole thing, that's why David is advocating this project. I don't know the 3 bids that you have. I don't know what they cover.
I sent them the plan that was submitted to the city of Gallatin, so it's whatever's being planned.
You know, we have to go through a legal bid process.
Right.
And, you know, those numbers seem to be coming back higher based on previous experience, higher than what they initially started out as. So, I caution you on those 3 bids.
Well, I can tell you one of them is the same company that's doing the water on that street. So if they got, and they're the middle bid right now, so if they got it, then they would be doing both projects. So,
you know, again, I think it's prudent to move this on to budget for further discussion, because we've got to get this project done.
well, and that is prudent because they handle the money issue.
Right.
But what I wanted to do was make sure everybody understood where we were at with the thing and the disparity in some of the pricing. Commissioner?
We just got a bid back, if my math is correct, on the jail roof coming in at $431,000 less. At some point, we've got to balance the cost versus the time. So I'm gonna make a motion that we move this on the budget.
Do we have a second? Second by Commissioner Moss. Okay, discussion on the motion.
I'll say, it's almost a $300,000 difference, and I just don't know how, could we send that to budget with that, hey, we've got other bids?
I believe I can send that on the budget with the other proposals. They're estimates, they're not contractual documents, but they are a reasonable assessment of the work that's being done there.
That's where I was gonna go too, but also, I don't mind if the same person continues on with the job, but they need to know that we do have the option to go a different route, especially with the people that are gonna be in the ground doing the water pipe anyway. And, if they could come down, you know, to a reasonable place, other than $600,000, and head more towards this direction, we may still consider looking at them, but budget needs to know all of that, make the right fiscally conservative choice for this. We cannot just say, because they got us over a barrel, we're gonna give them all of this money, pay 3 times what it should cost. They need to really look into this.
And understand 100,000 of it is a contingency. That may not get spent, but it's definitely 499,000. And Turner made that very clear to the mayor, Kim Norkley, and me when we were discussing it.
Typically contingencies gotten into.
That's
why they're in there.
Mr. Chairman, would
Yes,
you mind sending those 3 bids to me?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
With that being said, I would like to amend that motion that we send these with it. Is that proper?
Sure.
And a proper amendment to that motion?
So we have an amendment to the motion. Do we need a second to the amendment?
We're gonna vote on the amendment.
Commissioner Miller. So,
I do want to send that,
okay,
like Commissioner Harrison
so
said.
we have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so the amendment passes, and so the main motion is to forward this to budget with the amendment. Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion passes. So I will get the proposals to the mayor, and I will include them with the package to the budget committee.
Could you please CC me on that?
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, that was item 1, and, 8C2 is the discussion of the electrical work on the parking garage. I would entertain a motion to discuss. Commissioner Millers, Commissioner Holmes on the second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, this, I would like to hand this over to the law director. He has done the most recent work on it regarding a letter he has sent to the city of Gallatin.
That should be in the, okay,
Yeah.
make sure y'all got it.
Very first one.
I sent the letter that's in the packet, and anyway, I know what it says.
I've read it 5 times.
Asking for the power to be established to the parking garage so that the, construction could be completed and the parking garage brought online. I didn't make any threats or anything. I did receive a call from, I guess it was Gallatin Electric, that, I was threatening lawsuits, whatnot, from, their Brandon Meredith, their attorney, but he had not seen the letter. I've worked with him in the past, and once he saw it, he apologized and said, no, I see where you're coming from. So I believe we left it at, he notified me that there was a meeting that had been planned. I knew nothing about the meeting, so I asked about it, and I believe from Ms. Norfleet sent out an invite for a April 10th meeting, which I've blocked in, but I'm now understanding may not be happening, so
Yeah,
I'm
we haven't got
unclear.
responses from.
Okay, I'm unclear on what date. The last I know is there's a tentative meeting to discuss this issue. So that's where that stands right now.
Okay, so I did not receive an invite, and I don't know if that's appropriate.
I just have a question. Yeah, speaking of appropriate, so we're gonna have a meeting about a letter that you sent and you weren't invited?
I received no communications other than from Gallatin Electric's attorney that he would like a copy of the letter, which I'd already sent him anyway, and he eventually got. After that, he notified me that they were planning a meeting, and then that's where everything fell silent. That's all I can speak to.
And Mr. Mayor, you don't know anything about this either.
April 10th meeting, we're waiting for replies.
Okay, yeah. Would I be welcome at that meeting? Sure. Okay, great.
Oh, so that is still potentially a good date?
If I can get them to reply to it.
Okay, then I'll leave it open.
Yeah, I haven't, I sent another request out for it. I know, Mr. Kimball, Mark Kimball could not make it. So we've asked if Brandon Meredith and Brandon Hessing can make it, but we haven't heard back yet. So if they don't reply tomorrow, I'm going to cancel that meeting and try for another day.
Okay. And as I understand it, we have no documentation that except one undated, unsigned email that alleges that we agreed to a phase 2, correct?
I reviewed everything that, that the mayor instructed Ms. Norfleet to send me that they had in any back and forth about this, other than a comment made by them which was not affirmed by the county, or unless I'm missing something, there was never any agreement to take on anything beyond whatever what was that pole, they call it the spaghetti pole.
Yeah.
And the plans account for the spaghetti pole, everything's agreed to, plans, everything went to the spaghetti pole. Now, my understanding is they're saying that we need to replace, service locations now. I will agree, they need to be replaced because I did an on-site, but, I don't think that should be at the county's expense.
Yes, it's not our property, it's not our responsibility. Commissioner Jones.
And that, first paragraph where it talks about, would not occur until the GDE received further information / direction regarding a plan. Were they saying we were responsible for the plan also?
They're saying we've agreed to some plan to do this further work, which I don't have, and I believe in that letter I also said, if I am unclear on this, please provide me any supporting documents you have.
And yeah, so they nor we have any kind of,
They've not provided me with any.
digital confirmation of any of this, it's all hearsay.
Right, and Turner's electrician has an estimate of $400,000 to do this work. So, here again, I think that's high, but regardless of the fact, it's not our responsibility, in my opinion, and I think it's still the mayor's opinion that this is not our responsibility, and I believe our attorney believes the same thing. So, we're just waiting for them to deliver some sort of documentation that says somebody signed up for it.
So there's no action to take on this until they get back with us, right? How long can they play this game for?
They control the power.
Right, but, I mean,
And currently, we're paying $15,000 a month for a generator. That would be
Yeah.
unnecessary if they would just give us 10 power.
is it 10 or 15?
15, I believe.
If you're asking worst case,
Goodness gracious.
if you're asking worst case, it would require the filing of some sort of restraining order to require them to provide power till it's litigated.
Would the injunction or restraining order cause them to have to do it and then litigate it, or would it freeze everything?
That would be what our condition would be, is that power be provided to the building and pending, and then whoever owes who what would be determined by the courts.
So it wouldn't necessarily hold anything up to litigate it.
Well, it lets you proceed with, it helps you mitigate your damages.
Right,
You
right.
get the garage.
I'm not sure the best course of action to, like, how long do we wait before, do we make a decision tonight to wait X amount of days before we go that route, or?
I'm a big believer in at least having one sit down, but if the sit down drags out, I don't know, that's y'all's decision to make, not mine.
And you have a date, what's the date on that again?
April
Maybe,
10th,
maybe.
If they respond to the mayor.
Can we make a decision or motion for something if it doesn't happen by April 10th? Then we'll wait till May to talk about it. If it doesn't happen April 10th, you know what I'm saying?
And you can make any motion you want, I don't.
Yeah, that's not a legal question, that's,
Well, I'm saying, is it advisable, and I'm kind of asking the body too, should we make some kind of a statement that if it doesn't happen by May 10th, or give them a few extra days, make whatever date you want, that something triggers to where the ball gets rolling before first week of May?
Yeah, I don't know what kind of leverage we would have in this case.
Well, it's not about leverage, but try to get them to at least turn the power on while it's litigated.
Well, but that's what his letter already did, you know, show us some documentation where we fulfilled our end of the agreement when we ran that line underground, and we're done, and you're costing us money, basically.
Right, the answer to that letter, though, is gonna happen in this meeting if it happens, but if the meeting doesn't happen, litigation has to happen. Is what it sounds like.
if this helps,
Yeah.
the committee, I'll reach out to, unless the mayor has another contact, I'll reach out to Mr. Meredith, this week,
Who is he
and
with, Mr. Mayor?
he's the attorney for Gallatin Electric.
Okay.
And I'll reach out to him and see if we're making any headway, but I can't make any promises on all of this getting done before your next meeting.
Yes, it was drag out and cost time.
But I'll get a lay of the land from him.
You know,
Yes,
the long and short of all of this is that the county commission, I have observed over the years, has really been over backwards to cooperate and help the city of Gallatin. And I could enumerate, and this is for years, going all the way back to the jail being built in downtown Gallatin. That was a real push for the city of Gallatin. The discovery that the poll survey put the parking meters really within county property around the square. We let that go built a parking garage in which we want to share with Gallatin parking for use of people in downtown Gallatin. Over the years, I have seen many, many things that we have done to help and assist Gallatin in their efforts to develop their city. And we have done it probably to the extent that it has not been always the very best decision on our part, but we were trying to help the city of Gallatin. Now here sits one commissioner that the next time they come to me and say they want to do something like this and want our cooperation, they can forget it unless they show a whole lot more cooperation on their part.
Can I second that?
Thank you for that. That's the history that I don't know. Okay, so there's really, I guess the action that, old business? Yeah, we'll put this on old business. Item D, 8D is creating a list of all capital improvements, projects currently in progress or budgeted for the future. Mr. Mayor, is this what this is? Okay. All right, so, we've got a system now and we can refine it as we see fit to help us understand things, but we can take that off of business. Item E, discussion of creating standard operating procedures for the General Operations Committee to monitor progress of design, development, contracting, and construction of any and all projects currently being built and or planned for the future. This list kind of takes care of that, but not completely, because we don't know what is coming up in the future.
No, we want Gantt charts, so milestones and projected milestones.
Well, I believe
Sorry about that, I'm sorry.
Can we make a motion to discuss?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we had talked about Gantt charts, and then Jeremy Mansfield has talked about what Anthony Holt used to do to keep general ops informed. I have no idea what that was, and I don't know if that was something like this before you. Yeah. Okay, so this is what Anthony Holt provided with. Okay.
Well, they never met, so I don't understand how that would be helpful. That doesn't show projection and estimation and complete and where we're missing the milestones out of. That just shows what just happened. Or, like, it doesn't show where we're late. It doesn't show where we're ahead of schedule. It doesn't show the public anything. It doesn't show the committee anything.
Yeah, the timeline.
That was the point of the request of the chart, right?
Right, for the Gantt chart.
That's how all major industrial and private sector jobs work.
Yeah. I know that we always did it as a construction company in my previous life, so.
There's a discussion on next door neighbor where people were just asking, why is this courthouse sitting empty? Nobody understands why this thing looks complete and still sitting empty. It should have been finished, already, and people don't understand. When you have missed milestones along the way, you got something to say.
Right.
You got something to say as it's happened. People would understand. It doesn't all pile up at the end here and everybody not understand why it's not finished. We can keep our citizens, our constituents informed about the missions month to month, and if we're going to try to catch it up, or if it just pushes the timeline back and the opening day back, we can't even have those discussions without anything like that.
Yeah, and true, I got an update from SSOE, who's the mechanical engineer today, very brief. He said, the louvers have been installed on the 3rd and 4th floors. Fire alarm connection to door operators was coordinated and in progress. Barometric dampers, which go behind the louvers, or are part of the louvers, are being delivered in the near future. Roof opening is planned for this week after all materials are on site. Turner is still targeting end of April for final completion. Now, I believe that's completion of this part of the project, so it's not, I don't believe it's completion of the entire building. Once the barometric dampers and roof relief vents are complete, we will be on site for testing while the interior walls and painting are being finalized. So that's what I got.
With all due respect, Mr. Chairman, I don't know whether to be happy, excited, or upset at that, because I don't know when it was supposed to be done.
It was supposed to be done in early January.
That's my point. So, if you know when something's supposed to be done, then you can celebrate a milestone being completed, but if you just know what was done this week, that's meaningless.
Yeah, and this is just one aspect of it. This was the problem we had with the pressurization of the elevator shaft.
Letting the committee that's responsible for the funding of something know what happened after it happened does nothing to prepare you for how to fund future projects or fund or discuss challenges with upcoming things.
Right.
To make things run more efficiently. That's what constituents want to see.
Right. I get asked every day when that courthouse is going to be done. Commissioner.
We had a project manager in the market meeting.
And that's true.
Well, that's what they operate off of, so in lieu of a project manager, that's why I would like to see what we asked for 2 months ago, and I don't know how to get that.
Okay. Well, you can make a motion.
Well, we did make a motion, so how do we enforce that motion that?
Well, what this was what we decided to do last month. I'm not sure if it was, spelled out this way, that the mayor was going to review what Anthony Holt had done for the previous Gen Ops committee, and if that's the way I would say is, if this is satisfactory, we could say it is, and if it's not, then we need to make a motion to.
Capital projects, it's fine, a list of capital projects that are, gonna happen or coming up or whatever, but with work in progress, status on major projects, I think we should see what they see in their Monday morning meeting, or whatever day of the week that they have their meeting in their construction trailer. Because I know they have one.
Yeah.
They gotta be telling their own guys on what they need to work overtime on, what they need to stay late and get done. They schedule work based on these timelines that we don't see. We need to see them. That needs to be brought here for transparency.
Okay, Commissioner Miller.
The minutes reflect that it puts the discussion of creating standard operating procedures. We did not make a motion. It just says county mayor's on his bill to work on report. Chairman Klein asked for items to remain on the agenda.
You'd have to go back 2 months, because 2 months ago, Mayor can correct me if I'm wrong, but he said he was gonna work on possibly a PowerPoint presentation or something, see if that was something that would be beneficial. That's just what I remember. And in that PowerPoint, I would have hoped there had been charts of some kind. I don't care if it's, what style of chart it is, but I was hoping that would be something. The last month he said he hadn't had time to get to it yet, but this came up to try this way. But I didn't know what this meant, what Mayor Holt did. And if this is what it was, then I'm not happy with that.
Okay, so.
I would like to go back to the original motion, if it was a motion, for the Gantt charts and the estimation of complete dates and the milestones, that type of
Okay,
scope.
so can you formulate that in a motion?
Has it not already been discussed and motioned and we voted on 2
I
months ago?
don't recall if it was a motion made, and voted on, I just don't remember.
No, this is 2 months in a row.
Yeah. I think, Mr. Mayor, the long and short of it is this isn't enough information for this committee. And so, I think Gantt chart is the term that would be the most helpful, because that gives a timeline of what's being done and what needs to be done before the project was finished. We have two projects I know of that are under construction, and one that's getting ready to be started in the health department. Another one that will be coming up soon in the new EMS building in Westmoreland. And in order for us to follow and track, I don't know how else we do it without a Gantt chart.
I think, given your experience in doing Gantt charts, I have no experience in that. In your active day-to-day operations, talking with the subs and all that, I think you would probably be in a better position to do that as chairman of the general office.
My intention was not to create extra work for the mayor. My intention was to get what they're probably operating off of, so I'm in agreement with that there's probably information there that they use amongst their own, site managers and the construction, all the managements of the different, crafts, the electricians, sheet metal workers, the finishers, and plumbers, and they probably have that information out there.
Yeah,
If we could just get them to share it with us on, a monthly basis, like the one they do weekly or whatever.
They probably update them daily, but they could, since we have monthly meetings,
Right.
we could get the most recent update and move forward with it.
Of their milestones and their projected estimates and completion and what they plan to do next week.
Mr. Mayor, would you like to handle it, or would you like me to?
You're welcome to.
Okay, Chairman. I will, I don't know if we have to make a motion on it, but I will talk to Turner and get a Gantt chart on both the courthouse and the parking structure. I can't think of anything else that's under construction at the moment. Okay. All right. So if everybody's okay with that, we can put that on old business, and I will.
Is anything happening with this SOP? SOP that the mayor presented, is that going into effect?
Oh,
For capital projects.
Yeah, but is this still something that's gonna be used?
yeah, this he will continue.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll make sure from the notes.
Okay, item F is, this has to do with, resolution number 2304-18, which is in your packet. And this is one of those, side things that I don't think anybody saw when we approved the resolution. But basically, the last sentence in the resolution is an obstacle, and I think we need to review it, so I would entertain a motion to discuss.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Of course we have.
Okay, it's, on the very back, it says, be it further resolved, outside of this volunteer tax act, no additional county funds will be spent. That's problematic because every other property we have, including the Castalian Springs, community center, just about everything we own except for this has county money that has been contributed to it, and it does on an ongoing basis that I know of. This is the only property I know of that we say we're not gonna spend a dime on it. If we don't get volunteer funds from the community, we're just gonna let it go.
If I could, I've been kicking this around before the meeting, I've got some proposed language, if you'd like me to bring it up. I would just end that last paragraph with comma, except for routine maintenance, because I believe the mayor said, still mow out there, I believe.
We cut a tree down.
Well, I understand that, but isn't there still mowing going on around that building?
Yeah.
Okay, then except for routine maintenance to the property and mitigate hazards there too. So it gives a carve out, no additional money to be spent except for basically the mowing and any potential hazards.
So moved.
Wait. Okay, do we have a second on that? Okay. Discussion, I'd like to get in the queue here. Would that disable a special project? You know, that's an historic post office and an historic house. Would that preclude the ability for the budget committee to put money out there to renovate the post office and the house? Because maintenance is one thing, renovation is another, or at least in my line of thinking it is.
Yeah, but that's,
I just said routine maintenance, and that by definition would be whatever's ordinary course of care for any property that you own.
Okay, so if, go ahead.
I think it would preclude it, because that property's been basically the pause button been pushed on it because nobody knew what to do with it for a long time.
Right.
And so this resolution had to happen to keep it from going downhill and getting tree fell on it or vandalized or whatever. So if you put contingencies in there to where they can renovate it again, we're talking about a total change of direction that we would have to revamp this whole resolution to.
Well, and that's why I'm asking the question. If we had gone through with the flood program and moved that post office over where the school was and then had demolished the Draper house, we would have had to fund, I believe, we would have wanted to fund the renovation of that historic post office.
Well, just moving it alone would
Like-
have been a fee.
Well, I'm assuming we paid for all of the renovation of the bridal house. And who paid for the bridal house renovation?
Some of that, if I remember correctly, was grant money, and then they sold some items in the store to pay for it. We had, I think there was like $22,000 left in the account. I think that rolled into the general fund.
And that was leftover grant money?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, with the school property, if I remember the plan, they were gonna move the old post office on there, and then the Friends of the Bridal House had committed to the renovation of that property, putting a permanent foundation on it, and then renovating the interior.
The Friends of the Bridal House.
They had committed to doing that, raising the money to do that.
Okay. Go ahead, Commissioner Jones.
So I'm not opposed to, renovating that someday, but I just think it's conflicting with this resolution. It's a totally different direction. I think we would have to change our course with regards to how we're gonna treat that place and probably, shred up or highly amend this resolution that is allowing other people to contribute money to keeping things up.
Yeah.
I just don't think that was.
Mr. Sibley.
When this resolution was started, it was my understanding that the county did not want to spend any more money on it, but we wanted to give the citizens around there the opportunity to do that.
Correct.
That's what the spirit of the resolution was. I have quickly learned that, at a future date, if, this commission does not like a resolution, they rescind it. And if you ever get to the point where you want to become an investor in that property, that's what you would do, is rescind this resolution and, craft one that suits the needs at the time. But, if you do what you're talking about by putting all these caveats in it, I think it personally destroys the whole intent of this, which was let the community get involved in what it is they love about their community. That's just my optics.
Yes.
Wow,
Yeah, and I'm just trying to raise questions so that we totally work this out, Commissioner.
So where is the nonprofit at that was supposed to be raising this money? To my knowledge, they brought one check that was to secure the house, about $3,000.
Yeah.
I think what you're sounds good in theory, oh, we're gonna raise all this money. And then you find out it's not easy to raise money when you're in a nonprofit situation. Choices have to be made, especially in a time of inflation. So,
In fairness to the nonprofit, we have not instructed them in any way, shape, or
it's
form.
not our job to instruct them. They're a nonprofit.
Well, but they don't own the property either.
But they knew that going in. They knew that when they raised $3,000.
I have no doubt that they would be willing to take on more and do more to fix that place up if they had, the ability to use it more. They raised money to fix the problem, to keep it from going downhill anymore, and they did exactly what they said they were gonna do. If we gave them the opportunity to take more of a, interest in that property or in that facility, I know that they would raise more money, but there's no reason to raise money at this point. They raised it to fix the roof and secure the building.
And they did what they said.
They did what they said they were gonna do. Phase two, if there is gonna be a phase two, I have no doubt that they'll raise more money to do that. It's not about lack of money, it's about this commission won't budge on letting them do something with the historic place. I just want to correct the record.
Yeah, I'm glad you.
Well, to my knowledge, Mr. Chairman, to my knowledge, no motion has been brought forward. So it's not that the commission won't budge, no motion has been brought forward.
You mean from them?
No, they're not on the commission.
Right.
We're on the commission.
Okay.
So if somebody wants to bring a motion, I'm assuming what you're talking about is deeding the property. Now you create a whole can of worms because he's going to declare it surplus property, it's going to take 16 votes, in my understanding.
Yeah.
So you're right back where you were.
Yeah, and,
They know that, that's why we're stuck here.
well, really, the issue is this resolution. So,
We have a motion
and
to add that verbiage.
said that verbiage. So, if there are no amendments, we can vote on changing the verbiage as, Mr. Sidler has.
Can we read the verbiage one more time?
Sure.
So to complete that last, be it further resolved, outside of this volunteer tax act, no additional county funds will be spent except for routine maintenance to the property and mitigate hazards thereto.
Now, are those hazards if these citizens do that, they just walk away from it and never tell us? So, do we take it over as a county? Do we take that?
Nobody's there now.
No, I mean, the maintenance, like, if there's maintenance to be done and they're not doing anything.
All they do is secure the box on the doors and fix the roof to keep it from going further downhill.
Changing the resolution just says, we're willing to spend money to maintain the property.
To keep it from getting destroyed.
To keep it from getting destroyed. That's what the modification
And
for the
people
resolution.
getting hurt.
One more question. Are we already doing that by mowing?
Well,
And the mayor did cut the trees, so aren't we already doing that?
right.
We're in conflict with our own resolution, that's why he's trying to fix it.
Well, I believe the resolution said buildings,
Well, we had a tree that was getting ready to fall on us.
which is the ground.
And the mayor appropriately pointed out that the resolution said we can't. And so,
Because we weren't supposed to spend money on it.
because we're,
Specifically says that no additional county funds.
so,
But knowing that we're breaking our own resolution by mowing it and by cutting trees to keep them from dropping on people, we have to amend this to make it comply with what we're actually doing, to your point.
I was under the impression that said be it further resolved, no funding outside this designated fund is to be used to repair, improve, maintain, or secure these buildings.
yeah, which means.
But we are maintaining.
Do anything.
Well, but we're not maintaining the buildings. We're just mowing grass, we got the tree down.
Well, like I said, maintenance is
Well,
one
maybe
thing.
splitting hairs here, but I'm looking at that a whole lot different.
Well, and that's why I said maintenance is different than renovation. So,
The word buildings, because it separates from mowing and trees.
we're not going in, putting up drywall and painting walls. We're just mowing grass.
Right, we're maintaining what we've got there.
Right.
Right, and so the nonprofit put a new roof on the back. They secured the buildings are safe and locked up. And now we will spend the minimal money to maintain what's there, I believe is what this resolution says. Or would say now, if Mr. Sidler changes it to that. So that's what we're voting on.
Could I ask what paragraph Commissioner Harrison's looking at about the building? Because I was reading the last line, which we were talking about, but I wanted to see where it's at.
I just screenshot the page from the minutes where it said that, and then the next sentence it said Chairman had declared the amendment approved by voice vote of the body. After further discussion, Commissioner Rainey moved, seconded by Commissioner Becker to amend to add insurance, and declared that amendment failed to carry by voice vote.
I'm just trying to find out where the resolution
Right here,
is talking
it's
about.
not, it's,
building.
he's talking about right here. But, I know, she.
I'm just reading that.
Well, the resolution, if I may, the resolution says, is titled Draper House and Old Post Office Property located at address. And in legal terms, property's gonna be the real property, personal property, improvements to the property, pretty much gonna cover everything, so.
The minutes are not accurate.
It's a resolution conflict with the minutes.
The minutes are in conflict with the resolution, but they're less accurate. They're loose.
Okay.
The resolution's binding, the minutes.
So are there any more questions on it before we go
It shouldn't say the word building in the minutes.
Mr. Chairman, just a suggestion, we might want to close this tonight and go back and watch the tape. Because if the resolution was drawn up different than what we voted on approved, that's wrong.
Well, we voted on the resolution as it stands right now.
But if your minutes are in conflict with what the resolution said, and we go back on the video and we see that something was approved that's different than what got in the resolution, maybe it's my error, you still got a problem.
Was this resolution not on our desks when we voted on all this?
Yes.
Okay, this is what we voted on then. The minutes came after this. I'm ready to vote.
All right. That said,
No, you have to defer this, you have to go back, you have to watch the tape, because that tape will show you what was actually voted on, and if that's in conflict, you have to correct that resolution. Stop voting on this desk.
Why don't we just defer it a month?
Defer it a month and research it.
I mean, it's not gonna hurt anything, is it? Just to defer, just to make sure all the questions or concerns are addressed with it?
I don't know that anything's gonna break it.
Yeah, kind of using the language our fellow commissioner uses, on the budget committee. I mean, is anything gonna break if we just,
But there's still a motion and a second on the floor. And unless there's an amendment proposed and voted on.
I move to defer, amend the motion to defer for 1 month.
Okay, so we have a motion. Second by Commissioner Moss. So we'll vote on the amendment. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
no?
No,
Okay, so we have 3-3, so motion fails. Okay, I vote no. So motion fails, 4-3. So, back to the main motion. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
Okay. Motion passes 4-3. So we will look forward to that, Mr. Sidler, next month. Discuss repair or replacement of existing audio brand new amplifier, and they do not have any control over the microphones on the desks, which is, can I entertain a motion to discuss? Motion and second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the sound system in the main hall is the sound company that's local. All they have to do with is the speakers. They take the signal from the computer and they send it through an amplifier to the speakers. They have nothing to do with the microphones that are on our desks that continue to feed back. And
I hear no feedback.
oh, I hear it all the time, especially in planning commission meetings. It feeds back like crazy. The other thing it does is the more microphones you have hot, the volume is drawn way down, which is why a lot of times we can't hear you on the other side and you can't hear us.
But Carolyn can control that, but I'm only allowing one to be open, right?
No. Well,
Yeah.
it depends on how it's set up. For instance, in planning commission meetings, a lot of times we'll have 3 or 4 open, and the volume is way down. A lot of times I will turn mine off.
Well, I've noticed several times during commission meetings, the public speaking microphone is left on the entire time. And I thought about going up there and turning it off just to see if it improves the quality.
And it does.
But well, the next time I'll do it, I'm gonna walk up there and turn it off.
Yeah. So, I'm sure that there's a way to turn the volume up, and there's probably a way to turn the speakers on the desk mics down. But, you know, what I did is I sent in the package.
No, desk mics. Volume, the speakers on the desk mics, they need to come up.
Right, but if they do, it'll feed back through the microphone. That's the problem. Is they're feeding right back into the microphone. When you're talking, you know, when you're not talking, when you don't have it triggered for you to speak, you can hear it.
No problem.
But you trigger the microphone and that sound goes right back into the
When you speak,
diaphragm.
your speakers should be off, and your microphone should be on. So you're saying they're both on?
Yeah, they're both on. So, because this is a foreign-made system, and the closest that I know of to have somebody look at it is Canada, I'm not sure what to do with it. Go ahead.
This should not be that difficult. The churches handle this on a week-to-week basis with more complex audio-visual systems than what we have. I don't understand why we can't contract somebody to come in and look through what we have and say, make some tweaks or adjustments to it and see what we can come up with. We've never had an outside audio-visual guy come in and look and evaluate it. Rather than even entertaining the idea of looking into a new system, I think we should at least have somebody look at it to see what we can get out of our system.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't know who to have look to it. Now, Carolyn Templeton is here tonight, and if we want to suspend the rules, if she can speak to the system, I'd be happy to have her.
I would love to hear her speak on it, but worst case scenario, I'll reach out to the guy that works at my church and ask him. Everybody else can do the same. And, you know, everybody goes to church that has a sound guy and get somebody's opinion on who to come walk through our facility. Just to start.
Well, do we want to suspend the rules and have her speak to it, or?
Sure.
I don't know. Carolyn, can you speak to the system? Take a motion to suspend the rules.
Second.
Second, all in favor? Opposed?
One of the things with the speakers for the commission, they're set up, when you have them on, to go to whoever is speaking. That allows the camera to go to Commissioner Jones, Commissioner Mills. When it's set up for the planning commission, all the speakers are on, because they have to be able to operate each one as they go. And that's part of it. The other part is, if everyone would speak into the microphone when they're talking, because we've
got some that are really soft-spoken and some that stand away. I don't know that that would help, but it has helped.
It does, to that point. Those mics are directional. They pick up the top of the mic. They do not pick up the side. So if you're standing up speaking over top and it's hitting you in the chest, it's not gonna pick you up. If you're sitting down and you're talking to the side, it's not gonna pick you up. You have to look down and speak your words into it. I've seen people looking around and talking, it does not work. So maybe it answers different mics, or omnidirectional mics, or lifting them up with little stands to where when you stand up there at height, where you stand and speak.
Actually could try to see, but that's the difference in a commission meeting and the planning commission.
There's nobody there to,
There's no one there to direct the talking, so they all have to be on.
Is that system working any different than when we bought it in 2018?
Well, I thought the last couple of meetings it has been much better. We realized some things that needed to be done, that we were able to work with to readjust, and I think it has helped, even with, like I said, the speakers. And it might be because, like, say a chairman is up giving his report and somebody asks to speak, right? We might try turning his microphone off until we go to the one that is speaking, and then going back and forth rather than leaving it on so that it would automatically go back. We could try that to see if that helps.
The petite you got down there by your knee, is it currently on 9?
I've not bothered it because we had it set to where it was not doing feedback.
Right.
Mr. Tuttle and I looked at it. So
Uh,
I've not bothered it.
If it's got one more notch left on it, I would like to hear feedback before we say turn it back down.
Okay, now,
Like,
that,
you could get one more out of it.
right, that controls what's in the ceiling. What's in the back controls the microphones. And if you turn it up past where it is right now, it's gonna give you feedback. We tried it, we tried it out.
You talking about the knob with those red LEDs?
That was different in the back on the
Yeah.
tower. So we've got that set now to where it does not do that. The one underneath my desk controls what's in the ceiling.
Yeah, the loudspeakers for the audience.
And which one of those controls the one coming out of the microphone
The one in
speakers?
the back.
The one in the back of those.
Yeah, on the computer.
I'd like to hear that one turned up to hear the feedback, so I've never heard it.
Well, that was a complaint earlier, back before the end of the year, that there was feedback.
I've just never heard feedback. I just cannot hear anybody talking out of my microphone. Every commission meeting, if you notice, I cup a piece of paper like this over top of my microphone to get it directionally pointed to my face, so it doesn't just kind of get lost.
Well, maybe the
It's
feedback
so hard
should
to
be
get.
better described as lower. It was lowering, giving a.
Well,
I just need to ask this, what would you like to do with that system?
then can we recommend somebody come see what we can stretch out of it?
Do you have anybody that, besides Mr. Tuttle, that's worked on that system that you know of?
A real AV guy that, well, it doesn't have to be.
Who works with a television system? That television system is, that's the microphones on the desks, the speakers on the desks, the audio visual.
See, I think that's where we're having the problem at though.
I agree.
No, I don't think it needs to be a televic person, because we're not having problems with voting. It's voting good now, it's usually voting right. The camera's going to the person the right way. It's all about sound only. So we need somebody that knows amplifiers, and we know somebody that knows signals. We got somebody, we need somebody that knows amp signaling and just audio.
If you know somebody, let's get them down.
I don't think a televic rep even matters.
Well, I said the closest ones in Canada, so, that I know of.
I have someone I'll reach out to see if they can get some information.
That would be great. That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna put us back in session. We'll put that on old business. The county building list still working on, compiling 6 different lists, so I'm closing in on it, but, I will keep on that on old business. 8I, Health Department, building demolition and new construction. The mayor covered that in here. I would like to say something about that, though, Mayor. There were, in reviewing the meeting notes that Kim Northleaf sent me, there were a few things that were supposed to happen. At the time of the meeting notes, it had not yet been determined that the building would be demolished. If it were to be demolished, a letter stating the reasons would be required. And that was in, I have not seen that letter, and I've asked for it.
Okay. You've not asked me, I'll get you that letter.
Yeah. Has AEI created a schedule and a budget as stated in item 6 on page 2 under description? I haven't seen that.
We haven't gotten that far.
Okay.
They've not created a schedule since we're waiting on the execution of the contract and topo survey information. We have to have that first.
Okay, thank you. Has anyone, and I have Hal Hendrick in quotations, initiated a description of the spaces and items needed for the project, as well as a pros and cons list of the existing facility, because that was also part of the, before demolition happened.
Yeah, that's been completed.
Okay, could I get a copy, or could we get a copy of that?
Sure.
Thank you. And 5, the last page of what she sent me is a letter from AEI stating they had been awarded the contract and that they were asking to be allowed to consider demolition and construct a new facility. Has there been any further movement on that end? They wanted to consider demolition, and that's that was in quotes by them, allowed to consider demolition and construct a new facility. Has there been any further movement on that end?
Well, they did their study and determined that based on the needs of the health department, that they needed to destroy that property and build a new one.
And
Go from 4,000 to 6,000 square feet to meet the needs.
Is that in writing anywhere?
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
If you could send that to all the committee members, that would be great.
Well, the original reason I remember hearing was because they determined it was cheaper per square foot to reconstruct rather than renovate.
That was
The main thing.
that was stated, I believe, in our last
But then
meeting.
in the rebuild, they can go ahead and build bigger.
Right, but there was no rationalization for that, rather except an opinion.
Right.
And so what I wanted to see was any documentation.
I keep getting distracted.
Yeah, if there's a lot of distraction on the table, please.
Guys, are you part of the conversation here?
Well, no, I mean, you all have been doing it pretty much most of the night on the side. I mean, I just, agreeing with my commissioner here that, rebuilding it, it's exactly what it says.
Okay, well, we'd all like to know what you have to say, because this is.
So the reason for rebuilding over renovation is because of the extensive nature. The building is in terrible shape. It's not a candidate to renovate. Not only is it not a candidate, it doesn't meet the requirements of the health department. The health department wants to add some privacy, rooms to where they can discuss issues with the patients in private. Right now, they have to use a break room. They want to add additional staff based on demand. The state wants to add that staff, so we need that room. This is it's what needs to be done based on what the architect and what the state's asking for.
But we've seen no documentation legitimizing all the things that you just stated. And so usually when you do a cost study, you do more than say it'll cost less to build a new building than to demolish
nowhere in our previous discussion do I remember hearing that it was not a candidate to renovate. It just made sense in someone's opinion to build bigger, to have a different building that they could do other things with. It was never stated that it was not possible to renovate. So I don't believe that's a true statement from what I remember hearing. You know, the cost to renovate per square foot was stated was more expensive than the cost to build per square foot. That's what I remember hearing from the last meeting. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but it never said that it was not a candidate. It was an opinion.
Okay, I'm gonna extend the courtesy to Commissioner Jeanette.
Thank you. I have done a tour a couple times at the health department in Hendersonville, and I am a provider, and I looked at the flow as far as what it would take to be doing proper examinations, counseling, the things that you do as a health department. The health department is very small, and the windows, the exam room, the space of the window, like the mayor said, if you were to do a gynecological exam, you know, you can imagine what's in the window. So you would want to make sure that everything is focused in different ways. That building is not conducive to proper clinical exams, and it's not big enough for movement of, like, so in a clinic, you know, you have your room, and you say, okay, Mrs. Jones, you know, I want to get a specimen to take you to the bathroom. And so the layout is not working, and when I remember, they had a lot of old files, the walls looked like they were actually very, to me, they didn't look right. They looked like they were separating, and there was damage to those walls. They didn't have proper storage for it. They were doing the best they could, but they didn't have proper storage for hazardous waste. They needed a place to do private, to actually even sit apart. They should not be doing private conversations in a break room. That's a HIPAA violation. So, if you're, I would not renovate that building because it's too small in its structure. You would have to make it bigger, design it so that the flow of the clinic is proper for what needs to be done for patient care. And with the things that have come about, because it was built many, many years ago, our population has changed, our healthcare issues have changed. You know, the people that come there, there is need for, you know, interpreters and things like that. There's a lot of things going on in that building that are not just about, you know, this light right, or, you know, it has to do with the flow of the clinic to be efficient. There were a lot of other things that I saw that were wrong with that building as far as providing a clean and safe environment. So I agree with the mayor. I think it needs to be built bigger, demolished for sure. I don't know what, you know, I don't know what's in those walls, and I know the air conditioning system was screwed up, that didn't give good heating and ventilation. That is a big issue in healthcare. So you have a lot of things going on in there that, to me, would cost you probably a whole lot more money to renovate, which is not really, in my opinion, going to be conducive for good flow. You have one floor, and then you have a floor on the top, and you're not going to have patients, unless you get an elevator, you're not going to have people being able to go upstairs, because you have to have ADA compliance and, you know, handicap access. So I agree with that. I don't know where y'all are going with all this, but I wanted to speak up because I know as a provider, that building, I was doing that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Sir.
You know, we don't own that property.
Right.
The Board of Education owns it.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're operating an elementary school, a junior high, and a high school on that property with athletic fields and everything else on a very, very small piece of property. And years ago, ago, when it was just a junior high school and a small one, that little square piece of property was, the Board of Education allowed the building of that structure. And I have told the superintendent of schools that I was objecting to any square inch of additional property to the health department, especially since a good many people from another county are the users of it.
About 12%.
And, every bit of that property there is very valuable to the use of that school. As a matter of fact, they have built playgrounds down closer to the health department. And now we're talking about a much bigger structure and spreading out more. I don't think that we better ask the Board of Education if they will be in agreement with that before we make any big plans.
Mr. Mayor, can you?
Yeah, it's on the same footprint, I'm not taking any more land.
No more land.
No more land.
There'll be adequate parking. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, and the schools, they agreed with it under the, not expanding.
Commissioner Jones?
I was gonna echo what Mr. Hobbs said, but what the mayor said changed my opinion on that. I'm not opposed to building a new one if we could have found a better place to do it. Are you okay with them doing that within the same
If
footprint?
it doesn't take up any more footprint, but really the property is in great need for the school there. But as long as it stays within that footprint, we can't afford to lose any more.
I just wish the director of schools and our county mayor would give the city of Hendersonville and try to find a place, negotiate and find a place to do it.
We
I know you did.
We tried that already.
You did, but did everybody? Like, as the director of schools got involved, as the county mayor got involved, did you ask Mayor Clary? They have nothing that they're willing to negotiate with
Bill
us.
said, no, there's no other property that we've seen in Hendersonville. And this is a prime location right next to the hospital.
Something a lot of your constituents, I'm sure, would not want me. I can't speak for yours, but I can tell you for mine. And echo what Mayor Isbell said, they like the location of the hospital. I've talked to people that you probably know for years that have personally called and reached out to me and said, yeah, we want to keep it right there.
Well, perhaps, has anyone talked to the hospital?
Yes, I have. I've talked with.
They're not willing to assist,
They're using every square inch of their property.
even with the purchase of that property across Forest Retreat.
Yeah, Justin said they really have nothing to offer.
I just wonder what their level of interests are keeping it there. Are they not offering because they don't want it there either? To me, there's other locations where somebody from the health department from down here could get to the hospital if needed. That, yeah, it's convenient to be right next door, but there's other places that could be just as good, if not better.
Well, let me ask you this, Tim.
Benefit of getting it back to the school would be.
Yeah, and how many times do you think, really, I'd love to know, how many times are people sent from the health department over to the hospital?
For the kind of services that they provide in the health department, not.
I think they probably go straight to the emergency.
Yeah, I asked Mr. Hendricks about that. It was not very common that they would ever go from the health department over to the hospital.
So, at one time I thought that may be a benefit just because it seemed like similar services, but
It's not really.
it's not that much of a concern if we could find a better place to put it and give it back to the schools, it would make more sense, but between a rock and a hard place it is.
We're rolling ahead. The surveying has been done.
We need to move ahead if we want to utilize the funds that have been given to us by the state. We have to have it committed by September.
So this health department will go offline for how long, a year and a half, while it's over?
I don't know if there's any, the law other thing about this is the state has agreed to pay for everything, correct? We provide the land and they'll do everything else. So this is really not out of our coffers to do any of this work, so,
Motion to approve.
Second.
okay.
To move it, yeah.
To move it to budget?
Yeah.
Or, would it go to
It's
budget?
already been done.
Okay, so there's no motion to be made on it?
Okay. So we try to exhaust every effort to find other.
Well, I don't know enough about it, so I've done everything I know how to do, so.
Has any leverage been used for Hendersonville
Yes.
to help with everything they owe us?
The mayor's spoken to them, I've spoken to them, Al has spoken to them. I think we just move on. New business 9A, this is, the ECD MOU Sumner County and Gallatin. I would ask, if we could make a motion to suspend the rules for the representative who's here.
I just have a question.
Okay, second.
My question is, I know this was on the agenda for, I'd like to know what was said and done there, and why is it on our agenda the same night?
Well, we've got a motion and a second to suspend the rules. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Please, Michael.
I asked that question. You didn't answer the question.
You didn't answer my question.
Well, I'm hoping you'll well, I can tell you that the reason that it's on our agenda is because we own the tower that they want to place the emergency.
That's fine, I don't care, I just wanna know what action they took.
I don't think that's.
Or they have
Elaborate on that.
reached
It got passed with me making one change in broadening it to Sumner County instead of specifically the ECC. Other than that, it remained unchanged.
Okay.
But we have to.
So there were specifics in the package. We need to mount one antenna on one of our towers, and all the criteria is built into the statements here that it won't interfere. If it does, you'll have to make changes to it. It's part of the memorandum. So I guess, does anybody have any questions? I've read through it all and I'm satisfied with it, but I want to make sure everybody else can field questions or can make questions and have them field the answers. Could you give us a quick rundown of what this will do?
Sure, yes. So, and I apologize, in the Emergency Services Committee, I believe I said Public Utilities, and I should have said Public Works. Public Works Department with Gallatin has asked us to install an antenna on our tower and one piece of equipment that will go inside the ECC. It will have a very small footprint. This is to increase the radio range of the Public Works radio system, it's on the whole analog system. Additionally, they're going to attach to a microwave link that's also established at the ECC, or part of it. But the city of Gallatin has written this MOU. The only thing that I asked of them was if this does cause any problems whatsoever with our radio reception or radio transmission, that we can have that taken down, whether it's we take it down immediately or we have the city take it down at their cost, regardless of their cost. Also, the group that is going to be installing this equipment is Comtech. Comtech is the exact same company that's been doing our radio system for years. So they have a very intimate knowledge of our radio system. They have an intimate knowledge of Galaxy's radio system, so I have no reason to doubt the confidence of Comtech installing this equipment and their assurance that this will not have an impact on our operation.
Any questions? Thank you very much. Okay, with that, they're looking for a motion to, we're back into.
I do have city of Gallatin's asking for another favor from the county, correct?
Public Works.
That they won't give us electricity with the equipment.
I brought that up, actually, and they said that was the, in Health and Emergency Services, they said that it was the, Gallatin Electric Department, not the city of Gallatin, that's withholding electricity. But you stated your communication is with the, Gallatin city lawyer over this, over the garage electrical?
City mayor.
And the city mayor, why are they involved in it if it's the Gallatin Electric Department that's withholding on us on the garage?
I'm bringing everybody to the table that could be a factor in this.
I was told they weren't a factor in the Health and
I
Emergency
don't-
Services Department.
I don't know. I cannot answer that question.
I was wondering who was driving that electrical issue. Was it the city or was it indeed? Because what interest does the Gallatin Electric Department have on whether the poles are above or underground in the city? I thought it was an aesthetic thing out there.
They have to ask Commissioner Miller.
So he said he got a correction, when he said.
Public utilities versus public
But
works.
versus public works that's asking for this, not public. I just wanna make sure I understand.
Yes, Public Works is the entity who has asked us for permission to install the system.
All right.
I wanted to weigh that out too, see if we had any kind of leverage on that.
I mean, they're asking for, basically, I mean, I don't have a problem with this, but here they come to us asking for a favor when they're withholding electricity at the courthouse, it's costing us a ton of money, so.
If they are indeed the ones doing it.
The city of Gallatin, Tennessee, it's pretty clear.
On what is that, the ECD?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about they're the ones that are actually withholding the power from us in the city garage, in the courthouse garage. Because it was told in HMS that it's not the city that's doing it, it's the Gallatin utilities that's doing it. That's why I want to know the results of that August 10th meeting, is Gallatin does have some say so on that. April 10th.
Any other, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, can y'all speak up down there so people can hear?
Yeah.
I
I was just gonna
I
say
didn't hear the
that.
conversation. And let me, while I'm speaking, let me go ahead and just make something clear so everybody understands. The city of Gallatin, and the Gallatin Department of Electricity are two totally separate entities. One does not influence the other, one cannot tell the other what to do. So we're dealing with this issue with just the city of Gallatin.
This one here,
This one issue here.
the
other
other
issue
issue
is separate.
is separate.
Yes, sir.
Who appoints the board for the Gallatin Electric?
I really don't know the structure of it, to be honest with you.
I would venture a guess that it might be the city council.
And they very well may, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking.
It'd be hard for me to believe that they wouldn't bow to the wishes of the city of Gallatin.
And they may, I don't know that.
Any other questions?
Can we, what, is there a timeline on this? Anything in break if we defer it till next month?
Motion to suspend the rules. Second? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Michael? Is anything gonna break if we defer this for a month?
Will anything break? No, sir, I don't believe anything's going to break. Will their deteriorating radio service that they use to communicate among their public works employees continue to be a factor? Yes.
Does it affect ECC at all?
No, ma'am, it doesn't affect the ECC.
Okay. Any questions?
There is,
Once we get back in session.
Okay, we're back in session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
So the members of the Electric Power Board are, they're a 4-year term, they're appointed by the mayor and confirmed by the city council. 3 members, 1 city council appointee, 1 to sit down in office. So 1 council member, 2 residents.
Appointed by the mayor, confirmed by the city council.
Correct.
So I would like to make a motion to defer this until next month, and we'll see what comes of the April 10th meeting.
Okay, we have a motion to defer. Do we have a second? Second from Commissioner Miller. Any discussion on the deferment? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. I guess we need to raise hands. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's 4. Noes? 3. Okay. Defer is passed. Highway Department surplus, Toby needs to sell 3 used trucks that are pretty much out of commission to replace most of the,
Second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Just go to budget.
Just goes to budget.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Subletting of county buildings, you have in your packet a lease for the, fire department in Shackle Island. The reason this came up is because under the new chief, they have raised the prices of using the, meeting room over there. And so it was requested of me to put this on the agenda and discuss. So I would, entertain a motion to discuss it. Second. Commissioner Miller, Commissioner Jones is the second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay. So, the question is, on the lease, it says no subletting. And we are the landlord, the VFD in Shackle Island is the tenant. And I guess maybe we should start with clarification from Mr. Sickler. Is holding a meeting considered subletting? If somebody wanted to have a 3-hour meeting in that meeting room, no, it's not subletting. Okay.
What is subletting?
Sublet, traditional legal term for subletting is I rent something, but then I acquiesce control to another party. I sublet to them while still maintaining my control of the tenant, between the tenant and the landlord. So you sidestep the landlord in who's actually occupying the building.
About renting it for meetings.
It's still their building, they're still the tenant, they just happen to be allowing functions to occur. You're asking me about legal definitions.
Yeah.
To me, this is much like a business that rents out space, if you're gonna use that analogy. So, this is not a sublet situation. Whether it's allowed or not is a different story, but it is not a sublet.
Okay. So, with that clarification, we let the building to the volunteer fire department for $1 a year or something. And then they have, over the years, allowed people to meet in that conference room that we've all met in. Go ahead.
They rent it out for birthday parties, family reunions, meeting centers. They do the flow through. I mean, they do a lot of things. So, I don't know if they charge. I don't think they charge for the flow through. But, so it's not just meetings. They do
No,
a lot of.
it raises funds for the volunteer fire department.
Okay. So,
I mean, that's where the money goes,
I guess,
generally speaking.
and there's nothing against that in the lease to do that. And so, is there a question with them doing that? I guess. I know that apparently they've increased their prices, but sounds like they're totally within their rights to do that.
it looks to me like you've got two issues here. You have the fire department, because when they got that building, when they got that property from us at the Board of Education, and the old Beach Elementary School still existed there, it was a community center. And the fire department was just on the end of it there with less equipment, engines and all they have now. But it appears to me that you have two things involved here. You have a community center that is to be used by the community, such as number one and everything else, and then you have the fire department. And we built it as a county for a fire department and a community center. So does the community center own the fire department, or does the fire department own the community center, or vice versa? I think this could all be solved by having a motion to have the chairman go and speak with the new fire chief and just have an understanding that we all have to live together in that building, that it's not just a fire department building that was built as a community center and a fire department. So I think it would be well to have you go down and just talk with the chief about the continuous situation that exists there between the two.
Okay.
If someone would make that motion.
Mr. Sidler.
If I may, just to build on what Mr. Hyde was saying, we do kind of have an ace in the hole. This lease renews on an annual basis. It was entered into in 1994. All that's required is a 60-day written notice prior to the day of termination. Now, obviously, we don't want them to relocate, but this is an opportunity to reform a new lease that you all can come to some sort of mutual agreement on if you choose to do that, if you to push that button, unless you can work something out up to that. I would still recommend that a new lease be done, because I've done commercial leases quite extensively, and I've never seen one 3 pages long. I've seen them 30 pages long, but I would highly recommend that be a new one be drafted and executed.
Okay. Commissioner Miller.
It's really fun for Mr. Hyde to say.
Yeah.
This was done in 1994. So was it the building it is now in 1994, or was it still the old school?
No, that was the older building.
The old
So, I mean, this
metal
doesn't
corrugated
really
building.
apply to what's there now. I agree, it doesn't need to be.
So just so that I understand, originally there were two buildings. One was a fire hall and the other was the.
No, it was all in one
It was all
building, and
one.
I think, someone may have to help me out here, but I think that the engines occupied the area where the old,
Cafeteria,
cafeteria gym area was, and the rest of it was community center.
And all that got demolished and this building built.
Yes.
So.
And, Mr. Stone was pretty much, the thrust behind, building this new community center / fire hall.
Okay. Okay.
I was
Commissioner Jones.
Could I just ask for clarification, what's the intentions of bringing this up now? Is there a problem? Is there, just an opportunity to fix the lease? I want it to be clear for public record, so that the fire chief understands, so that the people understand why we're even looking into this.
I will let Commissioner Miller answer that.
So there was a complaint, from a citizen where they were gonna charge $250 for 3-hour rental at the community center. So, I think that, in my opinion, not that I have to say so, in my opinion, that's ridiculous. It's a community center, understand a cleanup fee, maybe $50 or something for a cleanup fee if you have to clean up after people, but $250 for 3 hours is ridiculous. So, I mean, it's a community center that's owned by the county, that they pay $1 a year, which, I mean, it's $1. Who knows if that's even, which is fine, I don't care. I love the fact that we have a volunteer fire department less than a mile from my home and the Chappaqua community. Born and raised there, I'm a 6th generation, my kids are 7th generation, and I support the fire department and always will. But I just don't know, I wanted to go there and have a birthday party or something for somebody to pay $250 for 3 hours of rental. I think that's ludicrous. So,
Well, with that being said, my line of questioning was in preparation to make a motion for you to go down and talk to him, as Chairman Hyde suggested. But, I'm kind of torn. If that's a ridiculous amount to ask, free market will work that out, and they'll never rent it out. Again, it'll be a money loser for them. But also, it should be available to the people in the immediate community around them, not just for anybody in the county that wants to go there, because it was designated a community center, not a party rental building for people that may want to come down from Kentucky to rent a place, you know. So with your discussion, perhaps, do we want to put a clause in there or something that says that they need to, since the county has ownership of this, that they need to run things like that past us? We're okay with them making money, raising funds for the fire department, but within reason and approved by us on a annual basis with their lease or something like that, to where the fees are more in line with what other community places charge to make it reasonable. Would that be fair? Or I want to know opinions from the table, because I hear your heart on this, Commissioner Miller. I think I see your intent, but you know, we don't want them not to make money, but we want it to be truly a community-based center, not a state-based center.
Yeah, the direction I was going was that this could all be resolved by just going down into gentlemen talking to each other about, you know, this is a situation, we have two activities going on in this building, and you've just got to understand that. But I think Eric threw in something here that we didn't know about as far as this original document. And I think that after this conversation, Eric needs to go ahead and develop something that he could come back later and we could discuss and put some of these things in it, or delete some things that are in that. But I think the first step would just, the fire department is very, very important for that community. A community center is very, very important for that community. And I think the first step would be to let the chairman go and just have a frank conversation with him while Eric is developing this for us to look at that would incorporate some of the things.
The intentions were, if I made that motion for him to do that, if that's needed, would be to include some of the things to let him know that would possibly be coming up for the chief, whoever's in charge, to be thinking about this stuff as we're thinking about what's coming up. And maybe he would make some changes that would be beneficial to the concerns you brought up before this even comes up, and help us form our lease agreement.
Okay, I'll extend a courtesy to the commissioners, you know.
I had a couple questions about that, because I used to have an event center, and one of the things I had concern about was in the event center, when we had a party, when the vendors were there, what they're doing, we required them to have liability insurance to cover the people's party, and that way it protected us, and so protected the county. Because when you have a party, you don't, in my experience, you never know what people are going to do. You may have a party there for 50 people, and you end up having 400. So that's been my experience. So I would ask that question: do you require the party who's paying to have a party to have liability insurance for their own event, and name Sumner County as the
Additionally insured.
yeah.
I think that's addressed in the lease. It's
mine is not a county building.
Right.
So, I mean, it's kind of not comparing apples to apples at that point. So the fees, I mean, I could speak to those kind of things, but again, it doesn't matter because mine is not a community center like that because it's not county-owned property. We take care of all the insurance, we take care of all the things, and all of those things are covered, and so it's really different. You know what I mean? I mean, it could, but it's not the same.
All right.
I mean, I think we just leave all business and just have you go have a conversation.
So then be working on a lease and.
I think it's a good conversation.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move if we defer this one month, with stipulation that you're gonna go report back to this committee, a conversation that you're gonna have with the fire chief in regards to what's been discussed here tonight.
Does that need to be voted on, or is that just?
No, it doesn't need a motion. Okay?
Well, he's made a motion, do we?
But if you did.
Said it doesn't.
All right, I will meet with them and we'll defer it 1 month, keep it on old business. Okay, in the Shell courtroom, Mr. Mayor, the floor is yours.
Well, the state state's appointed a new judge for Sumner County.
They already did it.
Yes,
Approved, but not.
It is approved.
The position is.
The position, no, they haven't appointed a judge. Yeah, we don't have a name.
Yeah, I knew that.
But the position has been appointed, and we're having to build out one of the spaces, the open space. And I sent a map around that shows where the space is. It's on the,
I just say that I can't see. Is there any way to ever make these bigger? My grandma eyes.
I understand.
Probably don't think that.
So this is, the 5th floor, and you look down the middle, and you've got Thompson's Court, Judge Thompson, then next to that is Judge Oliver, and Judge Gay is on the opposite side, and then in the middle, it's marked with red, would be where the new judge is going.
Question. Thompson's now on the 5th floor though, right?
Yes.
So they're all on the 5th floor?
Yes.
Okay. Which floor is the one that's not built out?
4th floor.
4th floor totally is not built out, but this one courtroom on the 5th floor is not built out. Gotcha.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
I thought, John, and I had faulty memory here, a lot of times, but I thought we had to approve when we got the new general sessions judge, approved to accept that. How could the state just mandate it without the commission approving that, yes, we will go with a new judge?
It's my understanding this is a state judge. It's not a county judge, it's a state appointed judge. So it's.
But don't we pay a portion of that salary? Anything above what the state minimum level is?
I don't think so. I'm not 100% sure on that, Chairman. I just know that from what I've been told is that by law, we have to provide a space for this state appointed judge. So we have to build this space out.
Do you know anything to answer my question there, Eric? Do we have to accept that judgeship?
I've never researched that item specifically, but in an overview, the state's divided up in districts that any state case, the state can basically align that district however they want. And what they've done is they removed some judges from some districts and added judges to other districts. So I think that all falls within the state's purview. I don't think we have a up or down vote on that.
And I did ask Judge Thompson that question. He said, no, we do not have the authority
courtroom, I think we need to research that, question.
For the sake of time, I would ask, we've got a week to research it. If we can move it on to budget, we can get the answer to that question and have it for budget. And, you'll have an opportunity to make the decision then. You know, again, this committee will determine need, and I think we'll find that the need's there.
I'll get you guys. Do you have any idea when this judge needs to be put into a courtroom?
It's my understanding September or October.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Jones.
Does anybody else know how many other judges were approved by the state? Is it only Sumner County? Or was there other?
It was statewide. The removal and additions were statewide.
How many?
I have no idea.
So with that argument, everybody's having to build new places for all these judges. That seems like a lot of construction happening all at once in very, very short timeline to make that happen. But I don't think that's the case. I think we just have to provide a place for him to be. And are we saying that we can't juggle this new judge in with the schedule of what we have existing? We have to build out this $1 million plus, multi-million-dollar plus courtroom versus just give him a place to have court. Like, I can't believe we're at max capacity with that courthouse built already. And if we had one judge, we have to do this.
I have no idea.
I would like to research that before we move this on the budget, but that just seems kind of crazy. That it's a great opportunity because we have construction people on the ground right now in a building, and it seems like a great time to go ahead and build more shiny new stuff, but it's another huge project to build out. Now, I'm not ready to send out the budget without researching this. We just found out about this.
Okay, Commissioner Miller was next to speak.
I don't know. I don't know much about this, and that's the problem. I'd like to know more information. I don't know how, maybe they did say it, but it seems like everything's state to edge, like, oh, here's money to do this. You just think they'll be given something. I don't know enough about this to make an informed decision, so I want to make a motion to defer this for a month until we get more information.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. We have a question.
Commissioner Hyde.
Oh, Commissioner Hyde.
I was just gonna say that, Commissioner Jones, misunderstands government. Government,
I'm sure I do.
you build and we will fill, you know,
Yeah.
that's, the building will soon be full. But on the other hand of that, we've got courtrooms, and we have a couple of courtrooms down in General Sessions Building that still exist. We have, heaven forbid, the nice looking courtroom on the square, but those are new down in General Sessions, down that hallway there. We have courtrooms.
Yeah, we have some at the sheriff's, or the jail. We got 3 there.
Not that that's where we'd keep them forever, but we do have them there.
Right, we have places.
And I have a problem with, appointment of judges like this and then them being appointed by, the governor instead of allowing the citizens of Sumner County to elect them.
I might be able to expound on that. There, you've got some smaller counties like Cheatham County, where the classic circuit court, that definition came up, the circuit court judge, because they travel multiple counties. And I believe Ashland City still covers more than one county, so that's why this is a state mandated or state appointed position, is because it can affect more than one county.
This is not a circuit court judge. This is a criminal court judge.
They're circuit court, and it's a dual role too. It's a civil / criminal.
Even though they serve only Sumner.
Our district is big enough to encompass one county, yes.
But this appointment will come up for vote at the next election, right?
That's correct. That's true.
So,
They will fill a term, I'm sure it won't be an 8-year term, but they'll give them some stretch and then it'll hit the ballot.
so to his point, it could have been a decision made on election year, not a decision decided on that point.
I'm not saying that's not the case. I'm just saying, I was just answering this question of why the state may have a little bit more authority in the appointment of these positions versus your general sessions judges.
And my question was not why they have more authority. They do have that authority, and that's the problem, that they would appoint them instead of being elected, because, are these judges appointed, beyond a yes or no vote after that?
There's an application process and then if they come out of that, it eventually ends up being at some sort of, it might even be a governor appointment. I'm not sure how that works. I've never been asked to go down that road.
So, see, I'm fearful that it's going to be an appointment, and then they seem to stay there forever. And it becomes a yes or no vote on the ballot to retain.
So it'll be the same process that Chancellor Oliver goes through, that Judge Thompson goes through. That same process will continue. They would just be appointed for the initial inception of the position.
Okay.
Commissioner Holmes.
I was just gonna ask if, so that courtroom specifically is kind of a state courtroom, and that, like, and that's gonna be their courtroom.
I think the problem is that y'all are looking at this more like a court of appeals or a Supreme
So
Court.
this is just a
This
judge.
is just
coming-
another a Chancellor
And they
Oliver
stay
or
there.
Judge Thompson.
That's what I meant.
Correct.
Thanks.
Any other questions? We have a motion to defer in a second. All in favor, say aye. Oh, I'm sorry.
Understanding the timeliness of this, what questions do y'all need answered? I thought, it seemed like we just vetted them all. State law prevails. We are on a time crunch.
You didn't answer my question about why we need this building built for the judge when we have other buildings, we have other courtrooms.
We're gonna have one judge over in general sessions in the old courthouse.
Possibly.
Imagine the logistics of that, because you won't have it secure for prisoners.
I mean, if we have a need, we've identified what would be the harm in looking at the budget. And we're just deferring it from the budget if we don't like what we see it with the numbers. You know, what would be the harm in moving it to budget, getting out of here, and then if we don't like what we're saying,
We have to determine the need.
but we did determine, I thought we did
We
determine the
didn't
need
vote
that
to
we need.
determine the need yet. That's what the vote is getting ready to be, whether there's a need or not.
But the state kind of is mandating that we have to do this.
No, the state's mandating that we get a judge. It's not mandating that we have to provide a room for it. The
Right,
state
no,
has
but we can-
funds to fix that.
Bill, I mean, through budget, we can just.
I think to the mayor's, point, if we have questions, I think within a day, we should text questions to him, and, if he wants to follow through on something.
Please. I would like to elaborate on one thing when this hits budget, if it hits budget, is, Mr. Long and I have talked about this at length, and the problem we keep running into is this is identified as a shell courtroom, which means it's meant to be a unfinished space, for lack of a better word. So are we adding money to an existing project, or should this be a new project? And the only reason I want to point that out now is I don't want there to be any further delays if you all decide to move forward, but that's going to be a big question in budget.
So that means it needs to go out for bid? Is that what
Yes.
we're talking about?
If it's a new project, it would come out.
Technically, this may be considered a new project,
And maybe a good opportunity to send it.
because I don't think he can get shoved into the scope of work for the original inception of this courthouse. And to our defense, we didn't know we were going to get another judge. All of this just happened recently.
Right.
But I just wanted to throw that out there.
And as you send this out to bid, you're probably gonna have different millwork, different flooring, it's gonna be a completely different look from the rest of this
Mr. Mayor, how far along are you on architecture? Are we going to stay with the same architecture of all the other courtrooms? Is this a cookie cutter courtroom?
Well, I'm still working with David Loyne on the scope, and hope to have an answer. So yeah, that's something that we're gonna have further discussion on and have an answer for budget.
Okay. We still have a motion on the floor, to defer a month, and, we have a second. Are there any other questions, statements?
You know, for me, it's just for security. That's what the mayor said about, you know, securing prisoners or whatever. You know, that's why I would like to see it, you know, go to budget. And, you know, we can always, if we don't push it to budget and we keep it here, then we're delaying a month. At least with budget, we've got it in the next step. We can always say, look, you know, defer it from there if we are uncomfortable with anything.
I'd just like to address that because it's brought up. Are we really stating that our courtrooms have not been secured for decades, that they've never been done right and prisoner transfer has always been dangerous? Because I don't believe that's the case. We would just go back to the way we've been doing it up until the time this new courthouse is being built. I just think that's a false narrative being perpetuated to get more shiny new stuff. And we need to look at this hard. This is another large expenditure that people are gonna wonder about when asking about this courthouse and the amount of money that's been spent on it and the amount of construction time that's been under. This is just brought to us tonight. We do not have to cram it through.
Oh, no, it's talking about cramming it through.
No, we are. We're talking about getting at the budget ASAP because they can get started on it. We can look at this. We can ask the state if they're gonna send funds to provide for this judge that needs a new place to operate, obviously, because this is gonna happen all over the state, apparently. Or everybody else has courtrooms and we just don't. It's just a silly narrative that we need to explore to see how much of it is they need and how much of it is they want. So I wanna give them mine to find that out.
I was given a map
But I can't read.
that I can't read and no other information. I'm not against it or for it because I don't have enough information to even make an informed decision whether it's needed or not. So that's why I made the motion.
Any other questions, or are we ready to vote? Okay, everybody's ready to vote. All in favor of deferring it for 30 days, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. Passes 4-3. One more motion.
Before we,
Sorry.
one thing, we may have across the state removed judges where the dockets are smaller or something had occurred. But I know how this operates. When you have a judge that is going to be available, someone politics to get that to their county. And I think that the citizens ought to be aware of the fact that if there's a need, that's great. If it's not that great a need, some state politician was gracious enough to push a new judge on us, and I'd love to know who that is.
Motion adjourned.
Um,
Second.